Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take your stack of sources and pull out the most interesting points.
Exactly.
So today, we are looking at building a national telecom network, but not the kind you're thinking of. No massive towers or endless cables. We're talking about helium, a network powered by...
Well,
Helium.
helium.
I have to admit, I was a bit skeptical at first. How does it gas? Best known for making balloons float and voices sound funny, play a role in telecommunications.
Right. Well, it's not about inflating giant internet balloons across the country, though that would certainly make for an interesting sight. Helium, as a network, leverages blockchain technology and a network of devices called hotspots.
Hotspots. So instead of relying on traditional telecom giants, Helium aims to build a network powered by individuals.
Precisely. People like you can actually set up these hotspots, providing coverage and earning helium tokens in return. The source material you provided dives into the framework of this network and how it aims to challenge the traditional telecom model. It's a pretty fascinating concept.
Yeah, it is. The research you sent over actually goes through the entire history of telecom, from those old-school telegraphs all the way to 5G. It's incredible how far we've come.
It is remarkable progress, but even with advancements like 5G, there are still hurdles. High infrastructure costs, limited accessibility, especially in remote areas. These are issues that Helium, with its decentralized approach, aims to address.
Okay, but how does it actually work? The source material mentions some pretty complex tech, LongFi, LoRaWAN. Is this where I need an engineering degree?
It might sound intimidating, but it's actually quite clever. LongFi combines LoRaWAN, which is perfect for transmitting data over long distances with minimal power, with the security and transparency of the Helium blockchain.
So I buy a Helium hotspot, plug it in, and suddenly I'm a mini cell tower, and I'm earning crypto for doing it.
You've got the basic idea. The more people who participate, the stronger and more expansive the network becomes. And yes, you are rewarded with Helium tokens for providing coverage. The catch, if you will, is that it's still early days. The source material highlights several challenges that Helium needs to overcome to truly reach national scale.
Challenges? Like what? Let's dig into those.
Regulatory compliance is a big one. Can a decentralized network like this really navigate the complex web of telecom regulations? The source material raises some interesting questions about that.
It does make you wonder. How do you regulate a network that's essentially powered by the people?
Right. And then there's security, with so many individual points of access. How do you ensure the network is protected from cyber threats? The source material delves into some potential vulnerabilities and the safeguards being developed to address them.
And what about the economic viability? Can a token-based reward system actually sustain a national network?
That's a great question. And it's something that the source material analyzes in depth. It compares the traditional telecom model, with its high infrastructure costs, to Helium's crowdsourced approach.
So is it cheaper to build a network using Helium? That would certainly be disruptive.
That's what the research suggests. And it raises some interesting questions about the potential impact on pricing for consumers. It also explores the potential for job creation and economic stimulation in local communities.
Hold on, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before we talk about disrupting the entire telecom industry, let's break down the framework of a Helium network. The source material you provided gets into the nuts and bolts of how it all works. Okay, so we've got these hotspots, which are essentially mini cell towers. They use LongFi.
Yeah.
This combination of LoRaWAN and blockchain to transmit data. But how does that data actually travel? What's the pathway?
Think of it like this. Each hotspot acts as a node in a vast interconnected web. They communicate with each other using radio waves, specifically LoRaWAN, which is designed for long-range, low-power transmission.
So the data hops from hotspot to hotspot, creating a chain of communication.
Exactly. And the Helium blockchain ensures that this communication is secure, and that data is transmitted reliably.
Okay, so the blockchain acts as the security protocol, making sure everything runs smoothly.
You can think of it that way. It's like a decentralized ledger that records every transaction and activity on the network, preventing tampering and ensuring transparency.
So we've got the hotspots, the radio waves, and the blockchain, all working together. That's the basic framework.
Essentially, yes. But there's more to it than that. The source material delves into the specific components of a hotspot, how they're powered, the different types of antennas used, and how they interact with the Helium blockchain.
And how do these helium-powered devices differ from, let's say, our cell phones connecting to a traditional cell tower? Is the technology completely different?
That's where the unique properties of LoRaWAN come into play.
All right, let's get into that. What makes LoRaWAN so special? Why is it so well suited for a network like this?
LoRaWAN is designed for long-range transmission. which is crucial for building a widespread network, especially in areas where traditional infrastructure is limited.
So it can reach those rural communities that are often overlooked by the big telecom companies.
Exactly. And LoRaWAN operates on very low power, making it ideal for battery-powered devices and sensors, which are essential for many of Helium's envisioned applications.
Low power, long range. Those are some pretty attractive features. But what are the advantages of using helium-powered devices over traditional cell towers, besides the potential cost savings we talked about earlier?
Well, for one, helium networks are inherently more resilient. Imagine a cell tower going down. It can disrupt service for a large area. With helium, if one hotspot goes offline, the network can reroute data through other nearby hotspots, minimizing any disruption.
So it's like a self-healing network. That's pretty...
It is, and because helium leverages unlicensed spectrum, it avoids the complexities and costs associated with acquiring and managing licensed frequencies, which are required for traditional cell towers.
So it's cheaper, more resilient, and potentially more accessible. That's quite a compelling argument for helium.
It is, but remember, it's not without its challenges. We've already touched on a few of them. And the source material goes even deeper, exploring potential issues with scalability, security vulnerabilities, and the complexities of managing a truly decentralized network.
So it's a complex landscape, but one with immense potential.
Absolutely, and that's what makes exploring the framework of a helium network so fascinating. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift in how we connect and communicate, all driven by the seemingly simple gas, helium.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most innovative solutions come from the most unexpected places.
I agree.
And as we continue our deep dive into helium, we'll explore those solutions in more detail, looking at the real-world implementations, the challenges, and the potential this technology holds for the future of telecom. Let's keep diving. We've laid out the basic framework, hotspots, LoRaWAN show, and the blockchain, all working together to create this decentralized network. But let's get out of the theoretical and look at how it's actually being implemented. The research you provided includes some fascinating case studies of helium networks around the world, showcasing its real-world potential.
Yeah.
I'm curious about those. Are there any examples of helium networks actually addressing those challenges we talked about? Connectivity in rural areas, affordability, resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. One case study that really stood out to me focused on a rural community in the United States that had been struggling with limited internet access for years.
Oh, yeah. That resonates with me. I've read so much about the digital divide in rural America, where traditional broadband providers just don't see the economic incentive to build out infrastructure.
It's a frustrating situation, and this community was tired of waiting for a solution. They learned about helium, its potential for creating a community-owned network, and decided to take action.
So they took matters into their own hands. I love that. What did they actually do?
They pooled their resources, purchased a few hotspots, and started setting them up throughout their community, on rooftops, in businesses, even in some residents' homes.
And what were the results? Did they actually manage to build a functional network?
The results were pretty impressive. Within a few months, they had a network that provided reliable internet access to a significant portion of the community. And the cost of deploying this network was a fraction of what it would have cost to extend traditional broadband to their area.
Wow, that's a game changer. They not only solved their connectivity problem, but they did it in a way that was economically sustainable for their community.
Right. It really highlights the potential for helium to bridge the digital divide in a way that traditional telecom models just can't.
That case study really gets to the heart of what makes helium so compelling. It's about empowering communities to take control of their own connectivity.
Exactly. And it's not just about rural areas. Another case study in the research you shared focuses on a smart city initiative that used helium to build a network of air quality sensors.
That's interesting. Smart cities are becoming increasingly reliant on sensor networks to gather data and make informed decisions. But those networks require reliable, cost-effective connectivity.
Right, and that's where helium comes in. The city, in this case study, partnered with a local tech company to deploy a network of hotspots, providing coverage for their air quality sensors.
So instead of relying on expensive and often complex infrastructure from traditional telecom providers, they opted for a more agile, decentralized solution.
Precisely, and the Helium Network allowed them to gather real-time air quality data, which they could then use to inform decisions about traffic management, public health initiatives, and even urban planning.
It sounds like a win-win. The city gets the data it needs to improve its services, and the community benefits from a more efficient and sustainable urban environment.
And it showcases the versatility of helium. It's not just about connecting people to the internet. It's about connecting all sorts of things, creating a network for the Internet of Things.
That concept is mind-blowing. A network that connects everything from sensors to smart homes to entire industrial systems.
The research you provided even dives into a case study that used helium for logistics and supply chain management.
Okay, that's intriguing. Logistics is all about efficiency, and real-time tracking is essential. How did they use helium for that?
This company equipped its shipments with sensors that could transmit location data via the Helium Network, allowing them to track their goods in real time, from the warehouse to the customer's doorstep.
And because helium hotspots can cover such a wide area, they could track those shipments even in remote locations, where cellular coverage was spotty. Right?
Exactly. And this real-time visibility into their supply chain allowed them to optimize logistics, reduce delivery times, and ultimately improve customer satisfaction.
It's amazing to see how this seemingly simple technology is being applied in so many different ways. But I wonder, what about the long-term viability of helium? Can it really scale to become a truly national or even global network?
That's a question that a lot of people are asking. And the research you shared delves into some of the key factors that will determine helium's future.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are the make-or-break factors for helium's success?
Well, first and foremost, continued growth and adoption are crucial. The more people who join the network, the stronger and more valuable it becomes.
It's about reaching that critical mass.
Yeah.
Where the network becomes self-sustaining and ubiquitous, right?
Exactly. And it's not just about the number of hotspots, it's also about their distribution. We need to ensure that coverage is widespread and that there are enough hotspots in each area to provide a robust network.
So strategic deployment is key. It can't just be a random scattering of hotspots. There needs to be a plan, a vision for how to build out the network effectively.
Agree. And the source material emphasizes the importance of community engagement in that planning process.
That makes sense. You need buy-in from local communities to ensure that hotspots are deployed in the right locations and that the network meets their specific needs.
And beyond just expanding the network, another crucial factor is the development of compelling use cases. We need to demonstrate the value of helium to a wide range of users, not just tech enthusiasts.
We've already seen some great examples. Bridging the digital divide, enabling smart cities, optimizing supply chains. But the source material also highlights potential in areas like smart agriculture, environmental monitoring, and even disaster response.
It seems like the possibilities are almost endless, but with any new technology, especially one that challenges the status quo, there are bound to be hurdles. What are some of the biggest challenges that helium faces as it tries to scale up? One of the most significant challenges is navigating the regulatory landscape. As helium grows, it will inevitably attract more attention from regulators who may not be familiar with its decentralized model.
That's a tricky situation. How do you regulate a network that's powered by the people, not by a traditional corporation?
It's a new paradigm. And the research you provided suggests that working collaboratively with regulators, addressing concerns proactively, and demonstrating a commitment to compliance will be essential for helium's long-term success.
It's about finding that balance between fostering innovation and ensuring that the technology is used responsibly. Are there any other major challenges on the horizon?
Another challenge that helium will need to address is security. With so many individual hotspots contributing to the network, ensuring the security of data and preventing malicious attacks will be crucial.
That's a valid concern. Any system that relies on decentralized infrastructure needs to be particularly vigilant about security.
The source material suggests that strong encryption protocols, robust authentication mechanisms, and ongoing monitoring will be essential for maintaining the integrity and trustworthiness of the network.
So it's about building security into the framework from the ground up. What about the financial sustainability of helium? Can this token-based model really work in the long run?
That's a question that a lot of people are asking. And the source material explores several potential revenue models for helium, including data monetization, transaction fees, and even partnerships with businesses that want to leverage the network.
So it's about finding creative ways to generate revenue and ensure that the network can continue to grow and evolve.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that helium is still a relatively young technology. It's constantly evolving, and new solutions are emerging all the time.
So it's an exciting time to be watching this space, to see how helium develops and what impact it ultimately has on the future of telecom.
I agree. It's a story that's still being written, and it's fascinating to be a part of it.
Okay. We've covered a lot of ground. Real-world implementations. challenges, the long-term outlook for helium. But there's another crucial aspect we need to address, the human element.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd get to that. Helium is all about empowering communities. So the human side of this technology is particularly interesting to me.
The research you provided emphasizes that a key factor in helium's future success is the strength and vibrancy of its community.
Yeah, that makes sense. Helium relies on individuals to set up hotspots and contribute to the network's growth. It's a grassroots movement, not a top-down corporate initiative.
Exactly. And that sense of community ownership is a powerful force. It fosters innovation, drives adoption, and helps to ensure that the network is used in ways that benefit everyone.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the people who are using it, building it, and shaping its future.
The source material highlights the importance of community engagement, education, and collaboration in building a successful helium ecosystem.
Yeah, I can see how those elements are crucial. People need to understand how helium works, how they can benefit from it, and how they can contribute to its growth.
The research suggests that creating a strong community, one that's informed, engaged, and passionate about the technology, is essential for helium's long-term success.
It's a reminder that even in the age of cutting-edge technology, the human element is still paramount.
I agree. It's ultimately about people connecting with people, using technology as a tool to build a better world.
Well said. And I think that's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive. We've explored the framework of a helium network, its real-world applications, the challenges it faces, and the importance of community and its future success.
It's been a fascinating journey so far, and I'm eager to see where we go next.
We talked about the framework, the real-world applications, and the community aspect of helium, but I'm curious about the bigger picture. What's your take on helium's long-term potential? Where do you see this technology heading in the next 5, 10, even 20 years?
Predicting the future of technology is always a tricky business, but the source material you provided does offer some interesting insights and predictions. I think one of the most promising areas for helium is its potential role in the Internet of Things.
Yeah. The research you sent paints a pretty compelling picture of a future where helium networks are seamlessly woven into the fabric of our cities, homes, and industries.
It's fascinating to think about a world where everything is interconnected, from our appliances to our cars to entire city infrastructure, and helium, with its ability to connect low-power devices over long distances, seems perfectly suited for that kind of interconnected future. The source material even mentions the potential for helium to play a role in precision agriculture, using sensors to monitor soil conditions, optimize irrigation, and even predict crop yields.
It's incredible. We're talking about using technology to make our food systems more efficient and sustainable.
And that's just one example. The possibilities are truly vast. I think we'll also see helium playing an increasingly important role in bridging the digital divide. As the network expands and costs continue to decline, it will become a viable option for bringing connectivity. To communities that have been overlooked by traditional telecom providers, it's about democratizing access to technology and creating a more equitable world where everyone has the opportunity to participate in the digital economy. And it's not just about economic opportunity. The research you provided highlights the potential for helium to enable access to vital services like telehealth, online education, and even emergency communication in disaster-stricken areas.
It seems like helium has the potential to touch almost every aspect of our lives, connecting us in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
I think you're right. And as these networks grow and evolve, they'll become increasingly integrated with other emerging technologies. The source material even touches on the potential synergy between helium and 5G, suggesting that they could complement each other rather than competing directly.
That makes sense. 5G is great for high bandwidth applications, like streaming video, while helium excels at connecting low-power devices over long distances.
It's like each technology has its own strengths, and together they can create a more robust and versatile connectivity ecosystem. And I think artificial intelligence will play an increasingly important role in managing and optimizing these networks. Imagine a future where AI algorithms are analyzing data from helium's network, identifying patterns, and making real-time adjustments to improve efficiency, security, and coverage.
So we're talking about a network that's constantly learning and adapting, becoming more intelligent and efficient over time.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure we'll see innovations and applications emerge that we haven't even thought of yet.
Right. It's both exciting and a bit daunting to think about the implications of such a powerful technology.
I agree. And that brings us to a crucial point that the source material emphasizes. As we build this future, we need to be mindful of the ethical implications of helium and other decentralized technologies.
We've touched on some of those ethical concerns: data privacy, security, the potential for misuse. But as helium becomes more integrated into our lives, those concerns will only become more pressing.
The research you sent delves into those issues, highlighting the need for transparent governance, robust security protocols, and a strong ethical framework to guide the development and deployment of these networks.
It's a reminder that technology is never neutral. It's a tool that can be used for good or for ill. And it's our responsibility to ensure that it's used in ways that benefit humanity and protect our values.
I think that's a powerful message to carry with us as we navigate this technological landscape.
So for those listening, what do you want them to take away from this deep dive into helium?
Yeah.
What's the message you want them to carry with them as they contemplate the future of this technology?
I think the most important message is this. The future of helium is not predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the decisions we make, the actions we take, and the communities we build.
So it's not just about observing the evolution of this technology from a distance, but about actively participating in its development and deployment.
Exactly, and that participation can take many forms. It can be as simple as educating yourself about helium and spreading the word to others.
Or it could involve setting up a hotspot, contributing to the network's growth, and earning helium tokens in the process.
And for those who are more technically inclined, it could involve developing applications that leverage helium's unique capabilities, creating innovative solutions that benefit individuals and communities around the world.
It's about recognizing that we have a collective responsibility to ensure that this technology is used for good and that its benefits are shared widely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you, our listeners, to join the conversation, to explore the possibilities, and to help shape the future of this exciting technology. The future is unwritten, and the journey is just beginning.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration. We hope you found it as fascinating as we did. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep asking the big questions.